Watch this. Hello, my name is Jeff Goldblum, Goldblum. And I'm reading for something. First name. Oh yes, first name. I did it. First name, last name. Empty something. Yeah, and then pause. Here comes. That's enough of that. And I feel, and then it says here, parenthesis, however I feel. Well,
Madness.
Madness. Hey, that's the last line of what movie? This is last line of the movie. Madness. Tell me the movie.
Oh my God, I know that movie.
Yeah.
I know that movie.
Is it an older movie?
Yes.
Wait a minute. Madness.
I could give you a clue.
Okay. Madness. Wait a minute. Is it...
Madness.
Hold it.
Madness.
Is it Apocalypse Now?
No. No. That's the horror. The horror. You're close, though.
Yeah.
And it has a similar...
wait. It's The Last Family Ties.
You're way off.
No, it does. It ends with madness. Madness. Yeah. I love that this is the introduction to the show.
We have to wrap up what this movie is and then do the name thing all as one giant piece. We're still rolling.
We're still rolling.
But
really?
give us that hint.
This has been real. You can't use this as
No,
the
we can. But give us a hint on that movie.
Okay, I'll give you a hint. A lesser cast member, Jack Hawkins. Probably don't even know who that is.
Oh my! What kind of clue is that?
Okay,
a ceramic mug features in a breakfast scene. There's a clue for you.
No, Jack Hawkins. There are those who know very well Jack Hawkins. And already know this movie. I'll give you the giveaway clue. William Holden.
Oh,
Stalag 17?
No, pretty good guess. It's a kind of a war picture. He does not deliver the last line, by the way.
Bridge over the River Kwai.
Exactly right. Bridge over the River Kwai.
That was my last...
Just as he blows up the bridge.
Yes.
Exactly. Now, all together, let's whistle the song that is... Ready?
No. Oh, wait, that's the wrong one.
Okay.
That's it.
I can't whistle, and I don't know that.
You cannot whistle?
I can't whistle, and I...
Is that true?
And it sounds like a typical Johnny Cash song, except it has kind of like John Barry horns in it. It's really something.
Yeah. I love that. Thunderball. I was right at the right age for that because I'd consumed Dr. No from Russia with Love, Goldfinger. Yeah. I was so ready for Thunderball. Yeah. Boy, that was great.
Is he your favorite Bond of all time?
I'm
going to say, for me, it's Sean Connery, but Daniel Craig is right there with him, and I thought no one could do that. Yeah. I thought no one could. Yeah. Sean Connery was so incredible.
Fantastic. When he peaked, when he went to the summit of the Alps, after Thunderball, I think, nothing against Sean Connery, those movies, it started to...
He was phoning it in a bit.
With her, yeah. And by the time he got to Jill St. John and...
Diamonds Are Forever.
Diamonds Forever. Yeah, not my favorite.
Just realized something that, speaking of when you knew you wanted to do something, when I was a very young boy, my dad took me to downtown LA because that's where he used to work. First celebrity sighting was something being shot. A warehouse door opens up, outruns Ben Vereen, and then outruns Jeff Goldblum shooting 10-speed and brown.
Okay, and I was going to bring this up, that the first time we met, TV was our life preserver when we were kids. And my brothers, Neil and Luke, and I were really into what's the new show? And we're constantly looking for what's the new show going to be. And it was a big deal back then. Now people are bombarded with TV and streaming all the time. Back in the late 70s, early 80s, it was a big deal. Like ABC's coming out with its lineup in the fall, and all summer you'd be excited. You'd hear rumors about what it was going to be, and CBS is coming out with this, and NBC's coming out with that. And there was this show that we heard about called 10-Speed and Brown Shoe, and my brothers and I watched it, and it starred Ben Vereen and this guy I had never heard of before named Jeff Goldblum, and it was fucking fantastic. So it was so good. Yeah. And I was like, who is that guy? Who's that guy? That guy's fantastic. And then the show didn't last.
13 episodes is all. Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Bring it back.
And
Stephen J. Cannell who had done Rockford Files and many other things.
But I remember
and what greatest American hero?
American hero.
Yeah.
Well, believe it or not, I'm walking on air. So it's good. Yeah.
Please don't ask me to sing that one.
William Catt. Johnny Cash first sent that in. Walking on air.
So but it's funny that we all have. It's so funny that you bring that up, Matt, because that is the first time that I met Jeff Goldblum. I'm using your full name just out of reverence. It would have been a couple of years into the late night show that I met you, and you've done, everything. You'd been in so many great movies, and I went back into your dressing room and I was like, 10 Speed and Brown Shoe. And I remember you were like, oh yeah, 10 Speed and Brown Shoe. Because I thought you might say, oh, well, who cares about that? I've moved on to so many other things. But it was such, it really tickled me when I was I don't know, it was like, how old would I have been? 14, 15?
Well, it was like in 1980, I think. So you were born in...
I was 16, 17.
17. So I was 7 when I saw you guys shooting that. And I just was baffled by the cameras and that you did it multiple times and going, why are they doing it again and again? Why
really?
Is it like
How did you wind up there? Where?
My dad worked downtown and he would take me to downtown quite a bit. Downtown LA.
What did he do, your dad?
He was a division manager for the gas company.
Oh, I see.
Well, he also sold drugs.
He major kingpin.
So downtown, no kidding. And you just happened upon us shooting. No kidding.
And I was just blown away.
I remember, it's so funny when you think about these brushes with show business. As we said earlier, I was so far removed from, show business in my childhood. And then I'll never forget, my father came home one day and he said, they're shooting a movie at my hospital, the Peter Brent Brigham Hospital, which is now Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston. It's a big hospital. And he said, they're shooting this scene right outside my office. And we were like, they're shooting a movie in Boston? Near my dad's, like right outside my dad's office? That's impossible. That can't be. And so we rushed over there, and it was a scene where actor James Coburn just has to walk out and open a car door and get in it and shut the door. And he walked out. They go, and action. And so James Coburn walks up and he walks up to the car and it won't open and it won't open. And they go, cut. Someone had locked it with the keys inside. So then we watch James Coburn just stand there while 7 guys crowd around and start with a coat hanger trying to open the door. And I got to find out the name of this movie because I guess you can watch it.
What year would this have been?
This would have been like 1971 or 72.
We could look that up. We could find out.
And he trying to lift up the door, and they couldn't get it. And I thought, this is movie making?
Wow, yeah.
What the hell is this?
Well, still, one is struck by that when you go to, some movie and there's, all the little things going on. Hey, I love James Coburn. I saw the first run of Our Man Flint.
Oh my God.
In Like Flint.
Oh, we're back.
Yeah. Do you remember how the telephone rang in Lee J. Cobb's office?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Okay, this was kind of almost a takeoff on James Bond, but not really. I mean, it was very silly.
Derek Flint.
Yeah,
and then Austin Power had kind of borrowed some things like that. Kind of
what is the
from
James
there.
Coburn movie? I've got to find that.
I'll
out.
bet. Let me guess.
Mystery.
Let me guess. After that, I think after that he did a movie called The President's Analyst. It could have been that.
Yeah.
I remember him talking about it on talk shows. I used to love talk shows when I was in Pittsburgh. I used to tune into in summer, stay home all day and watch the Mike Douglas show. Go from Mike Douglas to Dinah Shore and Merv Griffin, and he used to come on. Remember, he was kind of a countercultural hippie actor then, and he used to come on with a turtleneck, or in a medallion or something like that. And his act, he used to come on, not just talk, he wanted to play the gong. And he used to bring onto Carson a big gong and go, that was his act,
We had, what I loved in the tradition of just to let people know that we did our best during my late night run to keep the madness going. You talked about, how people would just do strange things. One of the stranger things we did once was we just put out a salt lick on my show to see if we could attract a celebrity. And then you did it so nicely out of nowhere, just Jeff just in the corner, but he does it sort of like a nervous deer. And he slowly approaches, and I'm like, looks like Jeff Goldblum. Shh, everyone be quiet. And he came out, and then you sniffed the salt lick, and then you took a little lick. I remember that being one of my favorite. Such a stupid. I don't care. So James Coburn played the gong with Carson. Yeah, let's see you have Jeff Goldblum.
What do we got for Coburn?
Coburn is the Carey treatment. Carrie Treatment is a 1972 American crime thriller film by Blake Edwards, based blah, blah,
Yes.
blah. Takes place in Boston.
In Boston.
Dr. Peter Carey, played by James Coburn,
Yes.
is a pathologist who moves to Boston where he starts working.
Okay, well,
I don't know it, but Blake Edwards, boy.
Well, guess what? So this is another fun story. My dad's there. This didn't happen when I was there. They kept shooting this right outside my dad's window, and he kept thinking, well, I could keep looking under this microscope for a cure to a terrible disease, or I could go outside and hang out with these movie folk. So he went outside and he's chatting, and he can't believe it, but Blake Edwards is there with his wife, Julie Andrews.
Yes.
And a friend of my dad's who doesn't know much because he's always looking in a microscope is talking to Blake Edwards, and then he turned to Julie Andrews and said,
The friend of your dad's.
the friend of my dad's, and said, now tell me, Miss, what do you do?
Oh no! Oh no!
And
Come on.
she said, well, I'm, an actress as well. And he went, well. And then later on, people told him what he did. And the guy, I think, put his head in a cyclotron.
It's like that scene from Notting Hill when Julia Roberts comes in. And,
Yeah.
Hugh Grant's.
I know that reference. Yes.
Notting Hill.
There you go. We're
friend
getting
is like,
closer
yeah.
and closer
Was
to
written-
her
And then
references.
when you said Julie Andrews, I was like, yeah, she narrated Bridgerton, so
And
I
you
know
what?
her.
And you know what? Oh my God.
Sound of Music.
Oh, my
Sound
God.
of Music.
I'm kidding.
When the Thanksgiving Day parade, when I lived in New York, we lived on the Upper West Side, and my kids were crazy about seeing, the parade go by, and so I'd always take them. They were little kids to see the parade. And once I'm watching on the television, and we haven't gone down yet, and the parade is going by, and then they said, "And here comes Julie Andrews." I lost my fucking mind. I'm at the time, I'm whatever. I'm a 46-year-old man. I ran without my kids.
Oh my God.
And I ran all the way down. They were like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "Ah!" And I ran because I wanted to get down there fast. And I saw her go by, and I was like, "It's Julie Andrews." And I've been on TV at this point, 12 years. And I'm like, Julie Andrews. I mean, she didn't see me, but...
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. How about the movie 10? She's in the movie 10, of course, too. But Sound of Music I saw when it first came out. It was a big deal around that year. And I showed it to our kids now. We showed Sound of Music. We haven't shown them many movies. I'm going to show them. They've never been to a movie theater, but I think I'm going to take them to see Jurassic World.
Your kids are...
7, almost 7, and just turned 5.
Oh, my God. Okay, so they're such a great age. And because of COVID... they've missed out on some of these great experiences. Like going to a movie theater that was the biggest thing in the world that could happen to me, was to get to go to a movie theater and see a movie.
Really?
Yeah. And so when I say to, anyone in my family now, "Hey, do you want to go see a movie?" And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. What are you talking about? It's because they can see anything they want at any time.
Right. Oh, yeah, going to a movie theater. I'm involved in this cycle of publicity for Jurassic Park Dominion. And one of the things we're encouraging people to do, genuinely on my part, is to go out and see it in the movies, of course. And I made a list because of that. I thought, what are the best times I've ever had in movie theaters in my life? Because it's that's a way to talk about it. And so I started to remember, and with the help of my sister too, all the movies I saw importantly when I was a kid. And she said, remember this one? And it's been a nostalgia blast.
So these are the movies that really blew you away.
Yes, these are the ones we remember. She and I used to go to, they used to drop us off to the Leona Theater, this big, beautiful jewel box of a 3-tiered movie palace.
In Pittsburgh?
In Pittsburgh. West Homestead, a suburb of Pittsburgh. Not downtown. It's a little suburb, but they had this movie theater. And we'd go for, 25 cents, 50 cents or something, whatever tickets were. Get popcorn with butter and salt and a hot dog.
So Jeff Goldblum is about to read a list of his favorite movies. This is heaven.
The ones that made a big difference that I can remember to this day.
Let's hear it.
Okay, we saw, see if any of these mean anything to you. The Absent-Minded Professor.
Yes.
Fred McMurray, Flubber,
Yep,
all that.
yep.
That made a big impression on me. The Blob.
Oh, the original?
Which I've seen recently. Steve McQueen, very good. His first movie, Now, who was, of course, you'll know who was in all of these movies, which we saw, we saw whatever that came to there. But during this period, the 60s, early 60s, The Bellboy, Cinderfella, Disorderly, Orderly, Visitor
Jerry
Small,
Lewis.
Planet, Geisha
Of course,
Boy.
The Nutty Professor.
Delinquent Rockabye Baby, Nutty Professor. Yeah, loved it. And then I got the chance to meet him. Did you ever meet Jerry?
I did. I got to meet him. I got to interview him.
That's so interesting. Well, we could talk all about that.
Well, did you meet Jerry Lewis?
Yes, I did. I was going to play his son in that last movie that he did, Augie Rose. Augie Rose? Augie?
Oh,
No.
Max
Rose. Max
Yeah.
Rose. And so I went to Vegas in order. I was almost going to do it before I got something else and couldn't. And so I hung out with him in his office in Las Vegas.
How was he?
And bonded. Amazing. We could talk for amazing. He was big in my childhood and during this period. So
massive star. Yeah.
Thrilled to meet him, and he was, as you know him at that stage, and great, great and complicated and
very complicated.
Yeah. Right. But those movies, when we were seeing those movies, big deal. Do you know what this movie is? The Sterile Cuckoo?
No.
Liza Minnelli's first movie. She plays a kind of a nerdy girl.
The Sterile Cuckoo.
Sterile Cuckoo, who's coming
Terrible
of age.
name for a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Nobody wants to. Sterility is never something that draws the masses.
Yeah.
No.
Come one, come all, bring the family. The Sterile Cuckoo.
Yeah.
That cuckoo's not having children.
How about this movie? Who knows this? I don't think you will. Georgie Girl.
Oh yeah.
We
Hey
almost
there,
named our daughter
Georgie
after
Girl.
Walking down the street so fancy free was played by
Redgrave.
Lynn Redgrave, whom I worked with later, believe it or not. Oh, well, Bridge on the River Kwai. We saw the first viewing of The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance.
Yes.
I love that. Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte. How about, Betty Davis and Joan Crawford together? Gay Paree, P-U-R-E-E, about an animated movie about, in an impressionistic style, French impressions, about cats. And I think Robert Goulet did a voice, great. Dr. No from Russia with Love, Goldfinger, fantastic. Our Man Flint, I have. Pink Panther, the first Pink Panther. We went to a movie theater, and there was Peter Sellers, never seen before, as Clouseau, Blake Edwards, unbelievable. I remember the day we saw that.
Those movies changed my life.
Bobby D and I my best friend went to that theater to see Psycho. First time run of Psycho. Unbelievable. And I just spent some time with Jamie Lee Curtis in CinemaCon, How about
what's so great about there were all these great they don't do it anymore, but there were these great promotional tricks that they did back in the day to get people to come see movies, and Alfred Hitchcock was a genius at this. So when Psycho came out, he had like ambulances outside the theaters, and he very much publicized we're going to have medical personnel available for people who faint or have seizures during this terrifying movie. And people went mad.
And there was like a do not be late for this one. Remember, he would say
we won't let you in after the first.
We won't let you in.
Do not tell your friends.
Yes,
what happens.
exactly. Yeah. And he did all that stuff. He did it with the birds. He had all these great. I mean, what a great showman he was. In addition to being this incredible.
Birds was another movie we saw first run. Loved that day that we saw that. But then we went. I had a crush on this girl, and I went on a field trip hoping to kind of be near her. I had not made any headway. When we saw Hard Day's Night,
that was what girl did you have a crush on?
Stephanie Ignatz.
Oh, I thought you said, okay. I thought you meant you had a crush on a girl in the movie.
No, not in the movie.
Those were fellas. They just had long hair. No.
In ninth grade, no, Stephanie. And she was going, so I was going to tag along.
I have to ask you, speaking of movies, we have to talk about, because in Jurassic Park, in this character that you played, Dr. Ian, what's the last name? Malcolm, that's right.
Malcolm.
Yes. You nailed that character so much, and now you're coming back and you're assembling with the same people to bring these people back to life.
Yes, sir.
So who else is with you in this? Is Laura Dern?
Laura Dern, of course. The great Laura Dern, the great Sam Neill. So the three of us from the first movie are back together for the first time since then.
Right.
And we're reunited and have something to do with, in this story, with Bryce Dallas Howard's character and Chris Pratt's character. But also B.D. Wong is back from the first one. And Omar.
That's great.
Yeah, isn't that great? And Omar Sy from most recently. And Daniela Planeda and Justice Smith, and wait a minute, and new characters: Dewanda Wise, Mamadou Ache, and Campbell Scott are in this. Yeah, Isabella Sermon comes back, so it's great.
Think about. This is something that I think would be worthwhile for you to settle with for a second. Is that movies were such a big deal for you growing up? You've now been in a bunch of movies, and you think about Jurassic Park. So many young people. That was an eye-opening experience for them, and you were a big part of it. it's interesting how the loop closes in a strange way, isn't it?
Well,
it's fascinating.
I know it's a dreamy life that I've had. I can't believe it. I'm very grateful, and it's amazing that I get a chance to be in some movies with people, like I've said, that I saw early on. It is amazing.
I have to say that is something, and I brought this up before, but also I've had a dreamy life, and getting the chance to getting to interact with someone I saw on a movie screen or a television set when I was a child, nothing tops that.
Yeah.
And, there are all these massive stars that come along later on in life, and it doesn't have the same effect as meeting someone like a Dick Van Dyke or meeting someone who was in a movie and a huge deal when you were a kid, like a Jerry Lewis, seeing a Julie Andrews on a parade float go by, and even though she's 50 yards away, I can't believe that. Oh wait, I saw you there as a child, and now you're still here. Yeah. Life is magic.
Amazing. Vincent Price. We saw some Vincent Price movies. Then who was in The Fly, the first Fly, which I saw back then. I think I saw him in a Ralph's later.
You saw Vincent Price at a Ralph's?
I do believe so. I think I went up to him and he said, yes. He was, picking out melons or something, or from Turkey. Yeah, he was a big chef,
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's too bad Bill Hader isn't here, because Bill Hader does the best Vincent Price of all, and he'd be going, I don't do it, but he'd be here doing Vincent Price at a Ralph's.
We should remind him of that.
Yeah.
We should do. We will be seeing him soon. Yeah. We should remind him of that, because Vincent Price at a Ralph's, and I used to, when I first moved out here to L.A. A long time ago in 1988, my brother Neil came out and visited me, and there was a Ralph's across the street, and he kept seeing all these huge stars. He saw Cesar Romero, the Joker. And he'd come back and he'd go, I saw him, and I'm like, what is he? He was buying dog food at Ralph's. He was always going to Ralph's, and he would hang out there, and he would go right up to them and go, I loved you as the Joker, or I saw Harry Morgan from MASH. And and then he would always tell me what they were buying, He was buying a giant thing of beans, It always never matched. Like, I saw Cher. What was she getting? Industrial strength toilet cleaner. Well, I didn't want to know that.
She would never.
She would never.
I was so crazy about I hadn't met anybody famous or who was in movies when I was a kid, and the first couple of brushes I had, who did I first? We went on a vacation, and who was staying at this hotel was Darren McGavin.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Great.
Of The Night Stalker.
Yes, yeah. I was like, do you think we'll see him at breakfast? Well, I do. I never went up to him, but I was just, when are we going to see him again?
He's the dad in Christmas Story.
In Christmas Story, he's the dad.
Is?
But he's also one of the great. He's also in The Natural. Yeah. Obviously, he's one of the villains in The Natural.
Got one fun guy in that.
But he did. I think maybe my favorite show as a kid.
Kolchak
was. He played Carl Kolchak in The Night Stalker, which was the scariest show on television. It only ran. Maybe it ran 2 seasons, if that. It was not a success. But it was such a scary show. I
have that on DVD.
Do you? No, it's fantastic.
So
it's fantastic.
I've never seen them. I don't know.
And Darren McGavin was fantastic. And I don't think he ever did my show, but I got to meet him once. And my soul left my body. I was so excited. I couldn't believe I was meeting him.
Unbelievable. So, I'm back in this movie now, and that's coming out June 10th. You brought it up.
That's your from. And I love that you went. So anyway, back in this movie, and June 10th. You brought it up. I love that.
I was just trying to remember where we got off that.
Yeah.
But next on my list was Diary of a Madman, Vincent Price, and Tomb of Lygia. He was a big deal to us. Some of those Roger Cormans. I was a teenage Frankenstein. I was a teenage werewolf. They're two horrible movies, but interesting. I remember when TV shows would come out, what you were talking about, when the new lineup. Boy, I loved Friday nights when Wild Wild West would come on.
Huge.
Oh boy, Robert Conrad and Ross Martin, who played.
Yep. Ross Martin, damn it.
Artemis Gordon.
Right, yeah.
King Kong versus.
We left that open for you, so
I know.
Take
Artemis.
it.
What, really? What?
No, I don't know.
How about Gigot? Nobody knows the movie Gigot.
I don't know.
Jackie Gleason. He plays a mute dead, kind of a village idiot. Oh, it's great. The first movie I ever cried at.
Oh, I get
It's
it.
heartbreaking. Yeah.
I'm crying hearing about it. That's you're mentioning a bunch of movies that had a huge impact that I don't know.
You'll know this one. Jason and the Argonauts.
Yes, of
All that
course.
Ray Harryhausen stop motion stuff.
Yeah.
Magical day, magical day. Vertigo, did see the first run of Vertigo.
one. I
Maybe
know
my
that
favorite
one.
Hitchcock movie. Speaking of Hitchcock, you know Vertigo?
It's not my favorite.
Really?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's
Bernard Herrmann does the score. Wonderful music from that. But why don't you like Vertigo?
I didn't say I didn't like it. I just of the Hitchcock films.
What's your favorite Hitchcock?
Wow, it's got to be Psycho, and I also like Strangers on a Train.
Oh, that's yesteryear. Yeah, that's interesting.
yeah,
Farley Granger. Farley Granger was in that. I met Farley Granger.
You can't just say a name twice and have it have more impact.
Yes, you can. Yes,
Farley
you
Granger. Farley Granger. Farley Granger.
I think he's proven that he can.
You know, it'd be great if you. I think you'd be a great prosecuting attorney because
Yeah.
you'd say, the killer is of course Steve Miller. Steve Miller, and people would be like, well, he's got to be guilty. He said his name twice.
Steve Miller from the band?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just threw a name out there.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's a common name?
He's not suspicious in any way.
He's the gangster of love. He's got to
Yeah.
be guilty.
Oh, God.
That's true.
God.
That's true.
Stand by that.
What were we talking about? Oh, yeah. What were we talking about? Whose name?
You were listing.
Farley Granger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who introduced me to Farley Granger? Shelley Winters, whom I met on this movie called Next Stop Greenwich Village that Paul Mazursky directed in 1975. I came out here and we were kind of palsy. Shelley Winters.
Lovely woman. She was lovely.
Wow. What did
She was on our show in the early years, and I loved her because I knew her mostly from Poseidon Adventure.
I know that one.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yes.
Well, she was in the Poseidon, but she was also in Lolita. She's great.
Yes.
in
Oh, she's great in Lolita.
She's great in Place of the Sun
Yeah.
with Montgomery Clifton and Liz Taylor. Spectacular. Hey, did you ever meet Liz Taylor?
I did not meet Liz Taylor. No.
I knew Liz Taylor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
What was she like?
Spectacular.
She was one of those people. It all depends on when you get into show business. And you need to get in at the, I missed, I shouldn't say that. I got to meet all these amazing people who then passed away. It makes me sound like a killer. I met them and then they were gone. Suspicious, eh? But before that, but I will say that, there were all these great stars that passed away, before I came along in 93. And you think of so many great stars she had not passed away, but refused to take my calls. Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah.
Right.
Wisely, very wisely.
Don't blame her.
No.
Right. Who were we talking? Oh, so Shelley Winters, who was in Place in the Sun.
Yeah.
And also, what did she win the Oscar for? As supporting actress, as they were called in those days. What did she win for? She won for Patch of Blue.
Oh, okay.
Patch of Blue with Elizabeth Hartman and Sidney Poitier. I'm adding Patch of Blue because I'd forgotten it because we saw Lilies of the Field and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, all in the Sidney Poitier category. In any case, so Shelley Winters took me to Musso and Frank's for the first time.
Oh my God, that is the ultimate
Me and
experience.
her and Farley Granger.
Oh my
Oh my
God.
God.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. She said, get the sand dabs. Sand dabs they're known for their sand dabs. Nobody else serves sand dabs. You know the
is a
fish sand dabs?
sand dab?
At Musso Frank's, you can get the sand dabs
What
still.
is it?
Fish. Kind of a
Kind of
fish.
fish that you get.
Okay.
It's been fried often. They're
Fried. The fried sand dabs, kind of a sole of a variation of sole, I do believe.
I just I live for those experiences. I live for the idea that you would see an iconic star in a restaurant and you would end up hanging out with them. Someone you grew up watching on TV. And I was at some restaurant once and Warren Beatty was at another table, and the next thing you know, I got invited over, and I'm sitting with Warren Beatty, and Bonnie and Clyde was such a huge deal to me.
I saw it first run with my family.
And then I'm sitting there with him, and I just can't believe it. I'm supposed to play it cool, but then you can't because it's too big a moment. Just
Amazing.
too big.
Totally amazing. Splendor in the Grass, even before Bonnie and Clyde, my parents and I we were in New York City, and I think we went to Radio City Music Hall, saw the Rockettes, and saw Splendor in the Grass with him and I think maybe Natalie Wood.
Wow.
Yeah,
I saw
amazing.
I saw the Rockettes, but I was 50 yards away. I was in shrubbery.
Oh,
just
come
peering at them.
on.
God.
Such a creep.
Up in the catwalk.
I'm the only guy that watches the Rockettes from a distance. Peering
You know,
through
you
bushes.
can buy a ticket and be
ticket.
I
first
know.
row.
Yeah. No. I have my own way I like to do it.
Doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, I got to wait till all of them come out together into that field, and I'll be behind those shrubs over there. What? How are you going to get them all out here? Well, we have a salt lick. We'll get them out there.
Solic.
You lit up.
Look, I have to wrap this up.
No, you mustn't. I beg you. I beg you.
Sanity,
He had
but
a
I
dream.
don't-
He expects a 5-hour podcast. We can do this. It's okay.
Okay, we'll do it. We all need to be rehydrated. No, I just want to. It's my God. I want to get the word out, and because this podcast, I'm not going to brag. You can brag. A lot of people hear this podcast.
Oh,
43 million, I believe, is
At
the
least.
viewership. Is the what? Don't
in
you have-
Hawaii alone. And so what I'm saying, that's just on Maui.
Everybody
43
listens
million.
5 times on
Everybody
that.
Yeah, I read 43 million. You
It's
have
a very successful podcast.
it's
It's not for me to say.
Let's not fact check that. It's
Well,
43
not-
million.
It's just say, no reason to look into it. But the point is, a lot of people hear it. And so when I say Jurassic World Jurassic World Dominion is coming out, and that you are reprising your role as Dr. Ian Malcolm, that is going to pack the theaters alone.
That alone.
That's
beautiful.
big.
No one else would watch it otherwise.
I appreciate you saying that.
You're bringing it.
Because that's what they've sent me. That's what I'm represent. I represent a lovely company of investors and people. And,
All right, let's not turn this into a money thing. Right? No one.
No, emotionally, they're
you go.
invested.
There you go.
Colin Trevorrow, the director. Steven Spielberg is still at the top
he
of the
is?
pyramid. Yes, godfathering this all
But
the way
let's be
through.
honest. You are the butts and seats of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm
People
just
are
going to
going-
say it. Yeah. That's what that's how I felt. And as much as everyone else was spectacular, but you and one of the dinosaurs really. I don't remember which one. It's one of the velociraptors. It'd be
The
great if you-
Velociraptors.
It'd be great if you
Come
got
on.
everybody back except one velociraptor held out. It's like, fuck it.
The Robert Duvall.
Yeah,
I was
fuck
just
it.
going to say Robert Duvall,
Yeah,
Godfather 3.
Yeah, like,
That's
fuck
right.
it. You meet my price or I'm not showing up.
That's right.
Can I just take a second to share my notes for this episode of the podcast?
Uh-huh. Yes. Perfection, erotic, ideal.
Yep.
Wow.
That
Yep.
was just what
Wow.
today was.
There we
That
go.
really was.
Yeah, I got to. We should do. I have